Anin Bojo, Anin Bojo, Anin, or Ron Rickard here, R2, aka Chief Oja Creek. Wow. Start making a funny noise here all of a sudden. Anyways, that I've been having some fun. This is kind of bothered. Hey, Bojo, yeah, so this week in class, started talking about sexuality, which is great. And we're going through this exercise where you talked about how in our society we don't have any positive words to describe sexual intercourse. So I found this kind of sad in a way that because, you know, it's they say your language or the language that you're using is a indication of your society. If you cannot explain something as a concept, then, or if you do explain something, the certain way you use the words are an indication of how your society is viewing that situation. So cover your little virgin ears, like fucking and porking and humping and all these very derogatory terms. And in our classes I wanted to talk about, well, what are the positive things, you know? And the only responses that we got were making love. So only making love, that's the only thing that we can come up with. I got a challenge for all you Nizhaaswe out there to help us dumb men describe sex in a good way. Really reaching here for this, but it's an interesting concept because there isn't, the closest thing that I could think of is when I hear somebody say, I've heard women say, I'll swallow you, but even that is kind of, you know, I'll swallow you. Who says I'll swallow you? What are some terms that our women use or that describe, you know? And I even tried talking to buddies of mine that speak the language, hoping that, you know, no jubwe, we don't have these judgmental words or ways of, you know, oppressing women. So I did some research and found out that it wasn't as respectful as I thought, and actually explaining the term of having sex. So I haven't come across a term yet that kind of explains it in a mutual beneficial way, if you want to call it that, or a way of talking about sex in a positive way, you know, instead of saying fucking slaughtered that broad, or oh, I'm gonna go rip that ass up, you know, things like that, which is sadly, if you go to any bar in town, any bar anywhere is common. So that's what the sad part is, and I am putting out a challenge there because I would like to know a good way of explaining sex that is a respectful way. So all you Nizhaaswe, how do you talk about sex? How do you say it in a way that isn't somebody getting fucking torn up, or, you know? Yeah, so if you can think of a term, that's great. I wanted to mention that. So I'm supposed to be in class right now. Going this week, going to ceremonies, a whole different level of thinking. Actually, all this thinking about sexuality and sociology has really been clogging my brain. Really making me think about, you know, going in the fucking bush and living in the bush and staying away from civilization because how things are so messed up around here. Solitude actually looks pretty good when you consider all the inequalities and problems that are happening. But ceremonies, yeah. Ceremonies is an opportunity for me to clear my mind spiritually, to kind of recharge my batteries, you know, go meet some wonderful people, experience some ceremonies that are really, really peaceful and in essence and helpful for recharging. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and going to this next amount of time here. So I'm gonna check that out. That's gonna be another thing while I'm on this kind of negative spin, not ceremonies, but the one before that, sex and all that fucking Recently in the Sault Ste. Marie area, we had a hockey World Cup of recreation come. It's called the acronym CARHA, Canadian Adult Recreation Hockey Association, which is fine and dandy. But part of me was thinking at the same time, where were these signs that said, you know, for example, there's signs up saying, "We welcome Cara, welcome Cara to the city. We open you with open arms." There's promotions and everyone, leaderboards, you know, welcoming all the participants and big gala events, and the whole city seemed to got around this whole thing. Now, the problem that I have is when Little NHL, which is native hockey by Teams throughout Ontario, when Little NHL was in the Sioux, where were these signs then? Where were these people saying, "We welcome you with open arms"? Where were these big gala events, these fireworks, you know, all this outpouring of support? Those are some of the things that stick out for me, and it pisses me off because right then and there you can see the blatant racism against, you know, First Nations people. You know, like the card tournament, there was 125 teams in the Little NHL tournament, maybe even more. That's like not only just players, it's like fucking families, grandparents, up to like lots of money that brings into the economy here. Cara, same thing. They had 120 teams, actually less than what Little NHL does. But you don't see the support, and that pisses me off. And I think someone should say something about that. Well, I'm saying something about it right now, and that's as close as I'm gonna get because I'm fucking don't want to write anything because it takes time. So I'll just say it. So I've said it. So shitty marks for Sault Ste. Marie for, you know, showing their lack of support when Little NHL was here, and their total 100% turnaround, and kind of like a mini Olympic feel to it, like where you'd think they respect Native people, and clearly that's not the case. It seems to me only time they want to celebrate us is when they want to use us for opening ceremonies, and that's pretty messed up in my books. So yeah, that topic. And another thing, I'm doing a qualitative. I'm looking at comedy because those of you who know me, I like to mess around, like to fool around sometimes, and comedy is a big part of my life in terms of, you know, dealing with issues. I mean, our people in general have a pretty good sense of humor, I think, considering the attempts of annihilation by a dominant society. So if you're able to laugh at that, you got a pretty damn good sense of humor, which I think our people do possess. But this idea of comedy, I'm doing a qualitative research project, and I want to look at comedians or people that work with stereotypes. And this question that I come up with was, does culture-based comedy, does it perpetuate stereotypes or does it bring them down? So that's the kind of research that I'm doing, looking at as a project, where I hope to find ways that say that yes, it helps in taking down the power of a stereotype by making fun of it, you know, twisting it, putting its spin on it. I know comedians have been doing it since there's been comedy, and I want to look at that myself in terms of First Nations comedy, because there are people starting to come up and use comedy to, you know, deal with some of the situations our people have dealt with. So yeah, that's my topic. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm studying at university. Laughter as medicine, and or maybe not. We'll see what the research is. But that's pretty much me. I know it's Monday. It's late. It's supposed to be a video. It was supposed to be yesterday, but it wasn't. But this is all you're gonna get. So if you don't like it, go to bed, or not. It's up to you. But that's about it. I'm going to class. I'm done this video. I'm able to throw this shit out there. Not to you, but just throw it out there so we can get it out. And yeah. So Maybe next week I'll get 7 viewers. I see last week I got 6, hopefully. Anyway, so check back at Chief Ojikri on Twitter, or check back next weekend, maybe even late Monday for our next episode. So that's about it for now. Bama P. Welcome in.